Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing Sports. In boxing, find a way to win or you find a way to lose. There's a lot of talk going on right now. There's a lot of positive energy. And DL Hoya is feeling really good about himself. The fact that he was able to work with PBC and get a deal done for Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. The networks were able to come together, Showtime, DAZN, sort things out. They haven't divulged to the public whether the fight, at least I haven't been able to find it. It may be out there somewhere on the internet, but I haven't been able to find it. Who's going to be actually airing the fight, which network. I'm not sure how much money Ryan Garcia is going to make. I'm not quite sure the purse split, but I've seen a couple of numbers floating out there about Tank Davis potentially making up to $30 million. Matter of fact, like and subscribe to the channel, please, and consider donating. But this is the thing when we talk about these fight purses. It all depends on what pay-per-view does, okay? Now, this video is about Terence Crawford. The thing is, right, getting back to what I was talking about, with all the positive energy, right, and DL Hoya feeling good and people seeing that, wow, Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, you got to give Ryan Garcia credit. Two amazing boxers in their prime. Someone's O has to go. They were able to make that fight. Now, as a result of this fight being made, some people are of the belief that in order to have a Terence Crawford and Errol Spence fight made, maybe you need someone like Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy Promotions, to represent Bud Crawford. For Crawford to maybe go to Golden Boy. And maybe that's what it's going to take to get a Spence and Crawford fight. Now, to that I say, and I mean this with the most respect, right? And I'm saying it in a kind way. To hold your horses, don't take it to the stupid. Look, man, I'm going to say this. I believe DL Hoya has connections in boxing. And it goes all the way back to his days as an amateur, what he accomplished at the Olympics, getting the gold, what he was able to do as a professional, right? DL Hoya fought everybody. Everybody. DL Hoya wasn't afraid of anyone. DL Hoya walked the walk, talked the talk. You hear Gervonta Davis talking about people not really being built like that, about that life. DL Hoya was built like that and about that life. But let's not allow ourselves to be sucked in to all this positive energy and the fact that we as boxing fans are over here glowing, gleaming in joy because we have a big fight coming up. And these are the kind of fights that you need to see in order to really get more boxing fans, more casuals to come on back on board, to see pay-per-view sales get over 500,000, right? This is what you need to see. But just because this happened with Ryan and Tank, and although DL Hoya does have connections in boxing, don't for 1 second, now this is my opinion, think that DL Hoya is the man to get Crawford and Spence across the line. He is not the man. Let's look at what happened here. First, before we even look at what happened here, let's understand, right, that back on June 7, 2022, there was an article published where DL Hoya was out here talking about selling Golden Boy Promotions. You guys don't remember? Well, let me see something, right? I'll tell you the article. There was a number of them. But if you go out there to ESPN.com, you can pull it up and see for yourself. DL Hoya says he can't wait to sell Golden Boy Promotions. Now, this is less than a year ago. This man talking about he can't wait to sell Golden Boy Promotions. Why would anybody want to sign to DL Hoya and have him represent him when he's saying he can't wait to sell Golden Boy Promotions? Now, if you ask me, I think Oscar De La Hoya still can't wait to sell Golden Boy Promotions. And by him making by him actually taking the order of Ryan Garcia and going out here and making the fight between Tank and Ryan, right? Working with, the guys over at PBC. That could be a step in the direction of him saying, okay, I'm cashing out Ryan. Because if Ryan loses, he makes a boatload of money. If he wins, he makes a boatload of money. Especially if he beats Gervonta Davis twice. Ryan goes on and fights even bigger matches for even more money. So, just me being the kind of guy who likes to peel the layers back, maybe this really is a move in the direction of De La Hoya alleviating himself of Golden Boy Promotions, right? Could be. De La Hoya and Terence Crawford now, right? Let's try to understand this. When you have a guy like De La Hoya saying he's sitting on $1 billion company, but he's ready to let it go. Look, Terence Crawford shouldn't sign with him. Now, let's talk about what happened here, what's going on with Crawford. Crawford is just out there in the breeze, right? And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but he's in the breeze. But as a result of Crawford not really having a commitment to anyone, an agent, a manager, a promoter, Crawford just kind of in the breeze. But we learned from guys like Showtime, Espinoza right over there at Showtime, for him to come out and say, BLK Prime, they're really in no position to make decisions or to really make the fight, agree to anything or making a fight for Terence Crawford. That tells you a lot, that an opportunity was probably missed, for Boots Ennis, but also for Crawford to make that fight as a result of Crawford being his own man. I truly believe when you get to the nucleus of why Steven Espinoza and Showtime didn't want to talk to Crawford, it's because I think they're a little butthurt about how he what he did when it came to the Earl Spence fight last year, right? That's just being real. We know Steven Espinoza, Conor McGregor, I think hit it on the head where he referred to him as a little weasel. I think Espinoza is a smart guy. I think he knows his boxing. I think he has his stuff together, but I think he also has great media training, and you're not going to get much truth out of him unless it's something that he can say without repercussion, and it's probably going to be in the favor of Showtime. Now, if Crawford was assigned to De La Hoya, listen, people, let's not panic because Crawford is supposed to be fighting Rocha. We know he's been made the mandatory by the WBO. But just because he's fighting Rocha doesn't mean that Crawford is signed to De La Hoya. Okay? But as far as Crawford signing to De La Hoya and thinking that that's what he's going to take to make huge fights for Crawford, look, that is not the case. You look at what happened with Ryan Garcia and Tank. The fight was made, but Ryan Garcia got stuck with he had to come down and drain himself to get to 136, right? Then there's a 10-pound rehydration clause. Now, some people are saying, oh, well, Ryan Garcia, when he was fighting at 135, or even if he was fighting at 140, he wouldn't rehydrate over 147 anyway. I'm like, I don't have any data to say that the person who's making those claims, that they're right or wrong. But what I will say is, when guys start putting these stipulations in a contract, that means they're trying to make everything to their benefit. And when you're the A side, you can do that. But when you look at Ryan Garcia, he got screwed as far as the weight they're fighting at. He got screwed as far as a rehydration clause, right? He got screwed as far as the purse split, right? He got screwed when it comes to everything for that first fight. Ring walk, everything. We understand Tank has a little piece of belt. He has a little belt out there. No doubt about that. You got to give him credit, but Ryan Garcia got screwed on everything. Then in the rematch, Ryan Garcia got screwed again, right? Tank's still the A side. Even if Tank loses, Tank's still going to make more money, right? And Tank's the only one who can exercise the rematch clause. Now, the one thing which I'm pretty sure, right? I don't have, I can't sit here and intelligently speak on it because I just don't have that data in front of me. And I don't trust what other content creators are saying because they all see something different. Everyone has a narrative. I'm not that kind of person if you follow the channel. But what I will say is I'm confident that when it comes to the networks, I'm sure everything's in the favor of Showtime. No doubt about that. Even if something gets shown on the zone, if somehow it ends up being shown on the zone, which I doubt it. I'm sure it's still some way where Showtime benefits somehow a lot more than what the zone does. But I just, without knowing that, but just looking the way the cards have fallen, it looks like everything's in the favor of Tank Davis' side. So for a guy like Crawford trying to go into a negotiation with Spence, let's understand this, man. Crawford and Spence are already talking. Now, can Crawford and Spence alone make the deal? No, they can't. But the fact is, if the fighters want to fight, they say that, the promoters, the managers, the networks get behind them and the fight happens. But I'm just not quite confident of that. But I think it's maybe easier if Crawford and Spence talk and come up with their own kind of plan of action and then take that collectively to guys like Heyman and Espinoza and say, hey, look, this is what we're looking at. And from there, I'll tell you what's going to happen. The boxing politics are going to get involved. Okay? But I just don't think De La Hoya is the man to go in there and try to work out any deals for Crawford. Because although De La Hoya is out there trumpeting his own horn and saying, hey, look, this is what I did. I made this Garcia and Tank fight. Yeah, he sounds like, he sounds like a damn optometrist. This man loves eyes, right? But understand this, he didn't get Ryan Garcia the best deal possible. He did get him the biggest fight, the biggest opportunity. And it's like, look, bet on yourself. And I understand what De La Hoya is saying to a certain extent, but damn, my man, don't come out here like you did something outstanding and then think that, okay, everyone's going to look at the job I did for Ryan Garcia, and people are now going to become bandwagonists and want to jump on the Golden Boy train. And Terence Crawford, he hasn't come out and commented, but I'm pretty sure he's sitting here saying, no way in the world, right? Because you just can't go it now, Crawford negotiating with Spence and De La Hoya getting involved and expect to see a different outcome. Look, with Crawford and Spence, A side, B side, they both bring a lot to the table. But, belts matter. But at this point, I personally think, I just think of 50-50 down the board to get the fight done. But that's not what's going to happen, okay? So let Crawford and Spence talk and try to sort things out. But I just don't think De La Hoya should be getting himself involved in that equation. Because I think Crawford could end up in a worse situation than him doing it by himself. Now, just to be fair to De La Hoya, I will say that I think this is true, that he now understands kind of the framework when it comes to negotiating with PBC, when it comes to trying to talk network deals and the way ahead with Showtime. He kind of understands when it comes to PBC and the representatives for their fighters, what they're going to be looking at for purse splits, etc. De La Hoya does have probably a little more awareness than other fighters because Tank really is the top dog. He's the top dog over there at PBC right now, and he's the top dog as far as a guy who's fighting for the most part exclusively on Showtime pay-per-view. So De La Hoya he did get a good peek behind the tent flaps where he can come out here and probably intelligently speak to Crawford and say, hey, this is kind of what we're up against. But that doesn't mean De La Hoya goes in there and he can hold ground and really push back on some of the aggressive demands that PBC is going to want in place. And I think with him getting involved, I think Terence Crawford gets screwed. So in my opinion, I think Crawford should really haul ass away from De La Hoya. And he shouldn't sign anything, okay? Because I'm going to tell you something else, right? This is a fact, right? So first thing is De La Hoya was talking about selling the Golden Boy Promotions, right? It's crazy. But in that same interview, he talked about selling Golden Boy Promotions because he said he's sitting on a $1 billion company. Check this out. He says, I'm ready to give Tank Davis a multi-million-dollar deal to fight Garcia. I strongly feel that's the fight to make. These are the type of fights that make superstars. Now, when you hear that, right, that tells you that he wanted. People say he didn't want to make the fight. People forget he wants to sell Golden Boy, but he wanted to make that fight too. because he knows how much money is behind it. Then he comes out and then he says, we're sitting on a gold mine. When I'm ready to get out, the time will come. But in the meantime, that's the reason I want to make these big fights happen. It's crucial. You understand? He wants to make the big fights happen. It's crucial because he wants to get rid of Golden Boy Promotions. It's crucial for the sport. It's crucial for my company. It's crucial, most important, for my company, but also the fan base. Let me tell y'all something. DL Hoya is setting up an exit strategy. And why wouldn't he sit here and speak so positively about Terence Crawford? Let me hip you guys to something. DL Hoya was pushing super hard for his guy, Virgil Ortiz, over the last couple of years to fight who? Let me see if y'all up on your boxing. Who was he pushing super hard for? It's not Earl Spence. Wasn't Keith Thurman. Wasn't Porter. Wasn't Danny Garcia. Pushing super hard for Terence Crawford. Now let me tell y'all something. When it comes to De La Hoya, if Crawford was to fall and bump his Nebraskan head in the ring from a sparring session and decided, you know what, today's the day I'm going to go sign the Golden Boy Promotions. Let me tell you what exactly is going to happen with Terence Crawford. And I feel we're entitled to our own opinions. We're not entitled to our own facts. But right now, I feel entitled to speaking some facts. My own, right? If he signs with De La Hoya, we know the Rocha fight is a strong possibility. He's made the mandatory. Crawford either gives up the belt, he fights him, or he fights Spence, which who knows what the hell's happening over there. After he fights Rocha, Blair Cobb's still kind of in the breeze because De La Hoya doesn't seem like he wants to re-sign him because Blair Cobb wants more money. But who knows what happens. But let's say the stars line up over there and Blair Cobb and De La Hoya can sort things out. Then now you got Terence Crawford fighting Blair Cobb. Because after he gets his mandatory out the way, he can kind of do what he wants. He fights Blair Cobb because De La Hoya says to have Terence Crawford come over there, fight Rocha, fight a couple other fighters, then the Earl Spence fight later. So that means he wants to get Crawford to fight like 2 or 3 fights before even looking at Spence. And the reason why he wants to do that, right? So it could be Rocha and Blair Cobb, is because it's crucial for the sport. It's crucial for his company. He's sitting on a gold mine. He's looking for an exit strategy. After Blair Cobb, if what's his name, Virgil Ortiz, still undefeated, still out here tearing guys out the frame, be Crawford against Virgil Ortiz, which has always been Oscar De La Hoya's desire. Now, if that fight happens and Crawford gets through him, then he won't even care about making a damn Crawford-Spence fight. Because he would have had 3 fights with Crawford fighting against guys in the Golden Boy stable. Probably would have made some really good money, right? In addition to Ryan Garcia and Tank and whatever else money he's making on Virgil Ortiz and other guys who are over there on his roster. And then he goes ahead and he sells his company. If somebody had given him $1 billion, I did a video early when I was like last year around, I think May or June, where I was referring to a Golden Boy Promotions as a crack house. So if somebody wants to pay him $1 billion for his company, let me tell you something. I doubt he'll get that. But if he was to get that, he's out of here. But I think nonetheless, he's looking for an exit strategy. Now, these aren't my words, man. You know what I'm saying? The man says he wants to be involved with Golden Boy for as long as possible. But he said he believes the company has plenty to offer to a potential investor. Remember, he went on Twitter. And when he went on Twitter, he was sitting there saying that there were some potential investors who were looking at Golden Boy. So he was out there playing around like there were people already willing to make him an offer on Golden Boy. I think those are actual words, entertaining offers. So Oscar De La Hoya is out here playing around. And if somebody, he may have did like Tyson Fury did when Tyson Fury went to Saudi. Tyson Fury went out there and was looking for an unrealistic number from the Saudis. Can't ask for 500. I guess you can ask for whatever you want. Don't mean you're going to get it. 500 million. Turn their nose up at you. Scoff at you. Get out of here. Now you got De La Hoya. Maybe he really thought he was going to get $1 billion. And if there were some potential investors or some potential buyers, turn their nose up and scoffed at him. You're bugging. Get out of here. No one's going to give you that kind of money. You're delusional. But I'm bringing that to y'all because I don't think people are really understanding De La Hoya's his end goal with making a Ryan Garcia fight, trying to get Terence Crawford to have him fight 2 or 3 times and then try to make a Spence fight. De La Hoya is looking for an exit strategy. Now, for those of you who don't agree with me, you know what? Cool, no problem. All I'm saying is try to have an open mind on this and not just look at everything that's there on the surface. Peel the layers back. Peel the layers back. And when you really look at the things that Oscar De La Hoya has spoken passionately about, I tell you, it hasn't even been a year. The man has spoken passionately about getting away from Golden Boy Promotions. And when you look back from even, 10 to 15 years ago, De La Hoya, man, Golden Boy Promotions was it. They had a really strong stable. They had great fights, great shows. A lot of fighters who were on PBC were over there with Golden Boy Promotions, man. They were there for some of them for 10 years. Had Canelo. I mean, he was rolling. And then he got Al Heyman. When he got Al Heyman, it was over because Al Heyman came into the game, backed by hedge funds, and when they was able to pay fighters a lot of money. And they just started leaving. Then he had the issues with Schaefer and Probellum. Kinahan was behind that. In my opinion, I don't know that for a fact. But that's what I think. And then De La Hoya was just kind of there, and now he's just sourcing a lot of talent coming out of Mexico. I'm not saying he's not fighting, he's not signing other fighters too, but I mean, that seems to be what's keeping Golden Boy Promotions alive, is just him really focusing on a lot of, I would say Hispanic fighters, you know what I mean? And I don't think that's by choice. I think that's kind of what it's kind of what he has to resort to. But he does have fighters from other ethnicities and speak different languages and stuff like that. I just think people would rather go the PBC route, would rather go the matchroom route, definitely the top rank route, before they really look at De La Hoya. Now you can also say this, Terence Crawford. So with all the aforementioned things about why Terence Crawford shouldn't sign with De La Hoya and how I don't think De La Hoya getting in there and working out the Ryan Garcia and Tank deal should motivate Crawford to gravitate towards De La Hoya. To me, it should make him run, because to me, Ryan Garcia got screwed. I'm going to say this. Man, I just lost my train of thought. Isn't that a trip? Too bad I can't rewind this, right? But when it comes to Oscar De La Hoya and this whole Terence Crawford thing, I just think it's bad medicine. I do. I just don't think Crawford's going to end up in a situation that's really going to make him happy. I think he'll be extremely sour. But that being said, we'll see what Crawford decides to do. But I am very, very, very curious to see in the next 2 years or less what happens with Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions. What happens with those guys that he has over there on his stable? Remember, he lost a lot of guys, man. A lot of guys. And I don't think he's really recovered. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I know what I was getting at. The other thing about De La Hoya, where he's kind of shot himself in the foot, right? In addition to all this, the fact that I don't think he did that great of a job making the fight with Ryan Garcia and Tank, you gotta look at De La Hoya's kind of shot his own self in the foot with just his name, just being caught up in BS, hey, he's human. Everybody, I don't care what anybody says. Some people are a bit more reserved when they're sitting back and they're spending time with a young lady. Some guys are way out there, like Oscar De La Hoya, putting on fishnets and panties and wigs and doing cocaine or whatever the hell he was doing, right? but he did it. Everybody's idea of fun is different. I'm not saying the man's wrong. I'm not saying he's right. I'm just saying that's what he decided to do. But then you get beyond that and see the mental health issues and the drug problems, and you get beyond that and see how he's had these weird outbursts and stuff like that, and then bad talking all these promoters, and you get beyond that, and now he wants to kumbaya and everybody work together. Then you get beyond that, and now he wants to sell Golden Boy Promotion. And you get beyond that, now he wants to bring on the biggest talent. And then even Canelo goes out and says De La Hoya just drunk all day, doesn't do any work. Schaefer kind of complains of the same thing. It's just chaotic. You know what I'm saying? There doesn't seem to be any stability over there. And I just think Crawford, any fighter who has a choice, don't go anywhere over there. And then when you got a guy like Bernard Hopkins, right? We know Bernard Hopkins was an amazing champion. But this could be a video in itself what I'm about to tell you, but I'm going to just throw it in here. So if you're still hanging around, good. You get to get this little gem I'm about to drop on you. And make sure you like and subscribe. Bernard Hopkins said Ryan Garcia is daring to be great with the fact he has a cut down to 136, the whole thing about the rehydration clause. According to Bernard Hopkins, right, that's Ryan Garcia daring to be great. Then he goes on to say he dared to be great in Puerto Rico. Same thing as Ryan Garcia having to lose all that weight. The same way in Puerto Rico, he took the Puerto Rican flag and threw it on the ground. And I made it out there alive. So I dared to be great by throwing the flag on the ground. Let me tell you something. Just the fact that Bernard Hopkins opens his mouth, that's enough for a person. And he's attached to Golden Boy, that's enough for a person to not go over there. I couldn't imagine sitting in a damn meeting. You got De La Hoya on the left side, Bernard Hopkins on the right side, and I got to listen to Bernard Hopkins talk. Let me tell you something, man. That wouldn't go over well. I'd probably be more pissed off about having to listen to Bernard Hopkins talk than to find out I got thrown into a fight that I have to make a weight that I haven't made in 2 years. And oh, by the way, I got screwed on the fight purse. I got screwed on everything else. I got screwed, and I don't get a rematch if I lose. And I'm also going to be the B-side in a rematch if I win. So that being said, Terence Crawford hauled ass away from Oscar De La Hoya. You don't want to get a deal with Spence like what Ryan Garcia received with Tank Davis. It's not good. But if he wins the first fight, if he wins the second fight, David Haney Cambosos, then he's out of here. But I'm not saying he can't do it. What I'm saying is all the odds are stacked against him. Thanks to Oscar De La Hoya. Crawford, don't do it. Y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents in the breeze.